Hi, everybody. I'm Pratibha Agarwal. I'm an immigration attorney. I am based right outside of right outside of Washington, D.C. in Arlington, Virginia. I'm based right outside of Washington, D.C. in Arlington, Virginia. Our clients, however, are all throughout the United States. And this is because immigration is considered a federal practice. It's considered a federal practice, and that means we can represent clients located all throughout the world. So basically, all throughout the U.S., anywhere in the world, because we practice only immigration. We don't practice anything other than immigration. We only practice immigration. So just a heads up that we can help you with any of your immigration matters. We represent companies that are sponsoring individuals for green cards and temporary visas like H-1B. So we can always answer your H-1B questions. If you are working with a company and they would intend to sponsor you on an H-1B or any other kind of employment-based visa, we will be able to help you most likely. Call our office for a consultation. We are at 703-348-1663. We also help with humanitarian cases. We help with family-based immigration and just options for individuals as well. So really pretty much everything under immigration, but we only practice immigration. If you're just joining, my name is Pratibha Agarwal. I'm an immigration attorney. I'm based outside of Washington, D.C. in Arlington, Virginia. Our clients, however, are all throughout the United States, and we can help you with your immigration matters. All right, so I'm streaming live right now on both TikTok and on Facebook. Just want to give everybody a heads up, everyone that's joining, that really the information that I provide right now is general information. If you want to establish a attorney-client relationship, you'll have to call our office and schedule a consultation. And of course, right now, because we have multiple people viewing, nothing is considered confidential. So the advice is not considered confidential. If you want specific advice on your case, if you want to figure out your immigration options, please call our office, set up a consultation. We do them by Zoom or by phone, no matter where you're located, right? So if you want to come into the office, and you're local to us, again, we're right outside of DC, you are able to come in. We do schedule in-person consultations. We're all getting vaccinated now. It's getting easier and easier to do that. But if you're not local, if you can't drive down to DC, or if you just prefer by Zoom or by phone, we accommodate that as well. So feel free to reach out to us. I'd be happy to schedule a consultation. And if you're wondering, if you're new to immigration, if you've not worked with an attorney before, a consultation is really an overview of the process. We'll go through your entry. We'll go through, what status you've held. Have you been in status? Or if you're out of status completely, we'll go through and see what options are available for you. And many people reach out to us, and they actually don't even realize that they do have some options available based on their experiences, based on, now getting married to somebody who might be able to sponsor them. So if you think that you would like to talk more and learn more about your immigration situation, feel free to call me at 703-348-1663. All right, we have some people here on Facebook. Hi, Zhang. I hope you're doing well. Zhang says, if you've been granted asylum, can you still apply for a green card through employment-based? Yeah. So actually, we have a client who's doing exactly that. So if you've been granted asylum, it may or may not make sense for you to apply for a green card through employment-based. It will also depend, for example, on how many days you've been out of status, how many days you have been unlawfully present in the U.S. So some people who are seeking asylum do have some days of unlawful presence in the U.S. because they either entered illegally, or they fell out of status and before they applied for asylum. So whether you qualify for an employment-based green card kind of depends on how many days of unlawful presence or how many days you've been out of status. So you may or may not qualify for an employment-based green card based on that. But assuming that you are in status, assuming that you haven't accrued a certain number of days of unlawful presence, you can still apply for employment-based green card. But it may or may not make sense based on the timeline. For example, if if you've been granted asylum, you'll be ultimately eligible to apply for a green card through receiving asylum, right? So that it may make sense for you to do that as opposed to what you might qualify for on the employment-based green card. Also, sometimes in terms of the employment-based green card, there's not a visa immediately available. So like for people from China, people from India, there is a little bit of a wait time before a visa becomes available for you. So it might actually be faster for you to go the asylum route than through the employment-based route. The green card, if people ask me this, the green card is the same no matter how you get it. So you could get an employment-based green card, you get a family-based green card, you could get a green card based on a humanitarian situation like asylum, right? So you could get all of these green cards in different ways, even investment-based green cards. But the green card, for the most part, no matter how you get it, is the same. So what you want to do, is get a green card in the best way possible in the way that you're eligible for. An employment-based green card is no better than a green card received through asylum. It's still, permission to live in the U.S. permanently. That's what a green card is. It's permission from the government to live and work in the U.S. forever, if you want, right? So, and you have certain obligations under that too, but it doesn't matter if you get it through asylum. It doesn't matter if you get it through your through an employment-based petition. What matters is that you were honest in the way that you procured that green card. What matters is that you're honest in the way you applied for it in your application, that you were forthcoming, right? So that's what matters. So, however you get it, it's a great benefit, and one green card is no better than another green card, generally speaking. All right, so I hope that's helpful to you, Zhang. Call us if we can help you. We are at 703-348-1663. We can help you for a consultation. Zhang also has a follow-up question here. The Arlington office requested a second interview of my asylum case. They told me after the supervisor review that they want more information on my case, and a second interview was conducted by a different officer. Is this normal? I mean, asylum is kind of hard. So, they might just want more information. So it doesn't mean anything. Provide your information to the best of your ability, right? What you're trying to show is that you're afraid of returning to your home country because you're afraid you might be persecuted for one reason or another. So that has to be strong. That has to be very strong. Your interview has to line up with the story that you put in your declaration. So essentially, you have to know a lot of details. And hopefully the attorney you worked with did a lot of work on your case in terms of showing the country conditions, showing that it is reasonable for you to be afraid of being persecuted for that specific reason that they disclosed to the government, right? So, sometimes cases require additional information. It doesn't mean that it's going to get denied, but it doesn't mean it's going to get denied at all. It just means that they need more information, and provide that information as comprehensively as you can. If we can help you, call us. We're at 703-348-1663. Hi, Durasai Puni. You said, how about C1? Well, you might have some options, right? You might have some options. So let me kind of go through and talk a little bit about people on a C1, people that come in on these visas. So sometimes it's, you're on a ship. You come in you were traveling on a ship or an airplane, and you work for that. You work for, this ship, or you work for an airline. You might be issued what's called a C1D visa. So many people on that, you can't actually change status. You can't, apply for a green card, but you may be eligible in some other circumstances, right? So sometimes, you receive this visa because you're passing through. So we had a client, for example, who got this visa type because he had a layover flight in the U.S. on his way to another location, to a different country. And he ended up, getting off the plane and overstaying that visa, right? So technically that is considered an admission, which allows him to apply for a green card in the U.S. So his situation was specific to him, but sometimes, other people might qualify and they don't actually realize that they do qualify for a green card. So our client was able to actually get their green card fairly quickly based on having a son, a U.S. citizen son, 21 or over. So if you have a C visa and you have a child 21 or over, or you're married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, you may also be eligible but not realize it. So call us for consultation, and we might be able to go through the requirements with you and see if you are eligible, in fact, to apply for a green card on a visa like that. Okay. This is Duris May. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that, so sorry about that. But feel free to give us a call. We're at 703-348-1663. All right. Hi, guys, on TikTok. I haven't even said hello here. Hi, Jas. Hi, Belisera. Hi, King. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Mahaj. Hi, Masood. Hi, Jose. Hi, Patrick. Hi, Mandy. Hi, Shelly. Hi, someone says his name is Pradeep. Hi, Pradeep. Pradeep has a question here on TikTok. Again, if you haven't followed us on TikTok, go ahead and follow us. We are at Agarwal Immigration on both TikTok and on Facebook. Would love to chat with you more about your immigration case, and at least you'll receive updates on when I go live, and you can pop on and ask your immigration question if you kind of have that one-off question, right? But if you want specific information about your case, definitely call our office and schedule a consultation. We're at 703-348-1663. Let's see. Pradeep says, I'm on an F1 visa and I got my H1 picked up. Can I ask a few questions? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and ask your question. Masood, hi. Great. So Pradeep, while you're typing your question in, I'm going to start talking about some things that come up in our practice, and how we answer those questions. Right. So many times we have clients who entered illegally. So they entered the U.S. illegally, and now they have a U.S. citizen child who is 21 or over. Right. So they've entered the U.S. illegally and they have a U.S. citizen child at 21 or over. And their question is, can I get my papers without having to leave the country? Is it possible for me to adjust status to apply for my green card without having to leave the country? So they can apply for their green card in one of two ways. So one is you do have to leave the country. You get kind of permission from the government to leave and come back. You get permission to leave, apply for your visa at the U.S. Embassy or the consulate abroad, and you come back on that. So this is based on having a U.S. citizen child who is at least 21 or over. All right, so that's one way to do it. Many people are afraid to do it that way because they're afraid that they won't be allowed back in. So that is a certain risk. So that's a certain risk, and you may or may not be allowed. But what we try to do is we get advance permission from the government to allow you to return. So we don't have you actually leave the U.S. until this permission is granted from the government. So that's one way to do it. So, many people will qualify in this way. The other way to do it is you get to adjust your status in the U.S. without having to leave based on your relationship with your child, right? So only some people are eligible for this, and you definitely need a consultation to determine whether or not you are eligible for this method. If you are, what you would do, you would not have to leave the country. You would process your green card fully in the U.S. So this is for people who have a U.S. citizen child, 21 or over. All right. So you can call us for a consultation. We can go through the whole process with you and the eligibility requirements with you for that. So if you do qualify, what you do get is you get a work permit in about 6 to 8 months from the time that we apply. So you get work authorization even if you entered illegally. In about 6 to 8 months after we apply, you will get a green card in about 2 to 2.5 years after you apply. So this is only for some people. This is only for some people who may or may not, who may qualify for this method. All right. So if we can help you, give us a call. I would love to chat with you more about this. This is for people who have a child 21 or over, is a U.S. citizen that may have an illegal entry to the U.S. Okay. Great. So I'm looking at some of the questions here. Pradeep, I still don't have your question, so I don't know if you popped off, but feel free to put it in there. Hi, Ramona. Someone is saying, hi, stranger, how are you doing? I actually don't know who you are because I can't tell from the username, but nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Masood says it's easy to remove deportation if more than 20 years, a U.S. citizen wife and a U.S. citizen child over 21. Yeah, Masood, you might qualify. You might qualify under your wife or you might qualify under your child. So we may be able to still help you get a green card. But we have to have a consultation because it's very specific to whether or not you're eligible for this, right? So we don't want you to have to leave the country. You might be permanently barred from re-entering, but if it's been more than 20 years and you're abroad, yeah, you might be able to come back in. If you are here and you have a deportation order 20 years ago, we may still be able to help you apply for your green card. So again, what you get is a work permit in about 6 to 8 months after we apply, and you will get a green card in about 2 to 2.5 years. This is, of course, if you qualify. So call us to see if you might qualify. Again, my name is Pratibha Agarwal. I'm an immigration attorney. If you're just joining, I see some people are just joining. If you're just joining, my name is Pratibha Agarwal. I'm an immigration attorney, and I help clients with all sorts of immigration matters, no matter where in the U.S. or internationally they are located. So if you think we can help you, call our office. We're at 703-348-1663. Cutball is saying hello. Hi, guys. Well, great. I'm so glad. Cutball has a question before I hop off. Pramod, I don't know if you're on, but if you're on, go ahead and type your question in. I know you had a question about your F1 status and your H1B got picked up in the lottery. Congratulations on that. Cutball says, I'm here from the last 3 years. Can I apply for my asylum case now? So it depends, Cutball. So you might actually qualify for something else other than asylum. So normally you have to apply for asylum 1 year after you enter, like within 1 year after you enter. But if you have certain circumstances, if you have some kind of extreme circumstances, we can argue that why you didn't apply within that 1 year, and they may still accept your application. So if you think that we might be able to help you, if you think that you want to just find out more to see if you're eligible, give us a call. We're at 703-348-1663. All right, guys, it's about, I've got to head out to an appointment. Pramod, I didn't see you. I hope I can catch you next time. And thank you for joining me, guys. I hope you're enjoying your Friday. Happy, happy, happy Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope you have warm weather wherever you are. And I will see you soon. I will see you on Monday. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.